Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and we're answering a question that we answered many, many years ago, back in 2013, but I think it's very important. How does one hire a good employment attorney? How do you find a good employment attorney? And listen, some of you are going to say, but Vince, why are you telling people how to hire attorneys besides you? Uh, we're good. Like, we want to keep taking on cases, we want to keep helping people, but we're in no shortage of potential clients. I'll say that, right? So I want to make sure people are getting the help that they need, and I want to try to change the industry a little bit. I see a lot of really shady attorneys in our industry. Generally speaking, I think you can argue there may be more bad attorneys, questionable attorneys in our industry than there are good. So I wanted to update this video, both because I think there's a couple of changes in the way I think you should do things, and also because I am way, way more handsome now than I was in 2013, and I'm sick of people sending people that ancient video. I'm kidding around, but I'm not. Very vain, and I don't want to send that video out anymore. I'm hideous. Okay. First and foremost, what you're going to have to do is schedule 3 to 5 free consultations. Now, do not pay for your consultation. I have a lot of videos on the channel about why you should not pay for a consultation, as to why attorneys should not charge for a consultation, right? At the end of the day, your case is an opportunity for an attorney, and if they are the kind of attorney who wants to try to win their money, wants to try to help you and get paid if they're successful, then they should be excited about sitting down with you free of charge. Your case is how they make money. Helping you is how they make money, and they will not know if they can help you unless they listen to you. So do not pay for consultations. And if you have any further questions about that, we have a variety of videos on the channel. As I mentioned, you should definitely watch those. Now, when people come to me, they're all over the country, right? And I'll say to them, hey, listen, you need to find local counsel. Local counsel will be way cheaper than our firm. Local counsel is not paying to fly attorneys around the country, and we are. So local counsel can be much cheaper, and I often direct people to local counsel, right? How do you find local counsel? Well, I recommend you go to avvo.com, and I'll link down below, but it's A as in apple, V as in victory, V as in victory, O as in orange.com. And you plug in your zip code, and you say that you're looking for an employment attorney, right? I'm assuming here that you've come to this video looking for a workplace discrimination or workplace sexual harassment attorney. So you're going to plug in employment attorney with your zip code. You're going to see what the options are around you. Now, recently, a gentleman who asked to be referred to as Mr. Incognito asked me if the ratings provided by avvo.com are important. They rate attorneys. I would say no. I would say immediately disregard those ratings. I don't know how those ratings are arrived at, but I can tell you that I think they're arrived at like a mixture of time, client reviews, and attorney like sponsorships, or like attorney vouching for you, things like that. It's not very useful. It's kind of like super lawyers. It's not a useful metric to judge an attorney by. And I say that as someone who's been a super lawyer, rising star for like a decade or longer. I don't know, but I just don't think either of those, either the Avvo rating or the super lawyers, they're both fairly meaningless in my eyes. So you go and you find the attorneys in your area. Now, first things first, look through the list, and I would recommend that you discard everyone who says they do more than just employment law. Is it possible that an attorney could do employment law and something else? Sure. Yeah. I'm sure there's people who do a good job at it. Just, I think it's unlikely. I think those folks are pretty rare. It's a fairly complex field, employment law, and I think if you're gonna really do the right thing, and you're really gonna get this, you're gonna handle this case in line with best practices, I think you should probably just practice employment law. People might say, Vince, you just say that because you're dumb. You can only do one thing. Maybe. But I'm not going to hire you if you do matrimonial and employment law. I'm sure as hell not going to hire you if you do personal injury and employment law. Not a chance in the world. All right, next thing, after you get rid of all the people who do more than just employment law, look at the client reviews. Now, when you're looking at client reviews, keep in mind that every employment attorney will have a couple of bad client reviews, right? This is a field where people, you can win them 500 grand, and they might leave you a bad review saying they should have won 70 million, right? It happens. But when you're looking at the reviews, what I want you to pay attention to is clients who say they're not communicating well with their attorney. Clients who say their attorney does not return their calls. Clients who say their attorney tried to force them to settle. Those are meaningful things. Those are red flags in my eyes, and I think you should pay attention to those reviews. So read all the reviews for every attorney that you're going to schedule a consultation with. Go in, like read them right before you go to the consultation and compare and contrast. Look at the reviews and get a feel for if you believe the reviews are true based on your interaction with that attorney, right? Okay, next on Avvo, if I recall correctly, you can check an attorney's ethical history. This is important. Ethical violations are important. Pay attention to ethical violations. And often if there's an ethical violation, you can dig into that a little bit and see what actually happened and see if what happened bothers you or does not bother you. But always pay attention to that when you're choosing an attorney. I got my little pad here that I'm looking at. If you wonder why I keep looking down. Check the attorney's press. What have they done? What high-profile cases have they handled? How have they controlled the narrative for their clients? What have they done for their clientele? Are they used to the public eye? Are they used to working with reporters? Do they have a PR team? This is going to be a big footprint on the internet. You can look at this, right? Like there are hundreds of articles about our cases. I'm not, again, saying you should hire local counsel. And local counsel in Kansas City might have 10 articles. I don't know. I'm not mocking Kansas City. I'm just saying it might be a little different because, media kind of is centered on LA and New York. I don't know. But check how those articles were handled. Check if those articles are favorable to the cases. Because to me, it is partially your employment attorney's job if things get out in the press, which is rare. But if things get out in the press, they need to control that narrative for you. There's a whole new realm where this case will be fought in the public eye, the court of public opinion. And while that's probably not something that you want to happen in your case necessarily, you could be different, I don't know. If it does happen, your attorney needs to make sure it happens in a way that favors you. So pay attention to the press. And lastly, and this is the most complex one, check the dockets. Go to the federal and the state courts where you are and look over the prior cases your attorney's handled. See what kind of results they've had. See if cases settle. See if cases go to trial. Get a feel for that. Lastly, as I mentioned, going to trial, have a conversation with each of these 3 to 5 attorneys you're having consultations with about who handles the trial, how often they go to trial, who's their trial team. Can you look at the results from their trial team? What kind of verdicts do they have? How often do they go to trial? Right? These are conversations you should be having with the attorney that you're potentially going to hire to bring a case that will potentially change the course of your life, right? At the end of the day, someone has done something horrible to you. It's impacted your ability to earn a living, and you are looking for help fighting that. That's a big decision. It's a huge decision. So take the time, do the research, really dig into who is the right attorney for you. Can't stress enough. And the last thing I'll say, and I hate this, I worked for a gentleman early on in my career, very, very briefly, who would tell everybody we were going to win them millions. And listen, there were allegations that he would jump on the table and say, "We'll win you millions." And I don't think he was jumping on the table. I never saw that. The only reason I don't think he was jumping on the table is I don't think he could. I don't think he was that spry. But I don't want to speak ill of the departed. In any case, I'll say this. I don't care for that kind of promising. That stuff is evil in my mind, right? You can't lie to people and tell them they're going to win millions. Any promises of any results on an employment case. If an attorney promises you something on an employment case, stand up, thank them for their time, and walk out. Just walk out. There's no promises. There's no guarantees. Anyone who guarantees anything in this field is a liar. They can say, "Listen, I like your case. I think your case is strong. I'd want to demand this. I'd want to go for this." These are all things that you can hear and that can be okay, right? Those are conversations that can be had. "I guarantee you will do this." Nope. Walk out. "I promise you we'll get you at least as much as." Nope. Walk out. Just walk out. That's not a real human being. That's a gremlin who wants your money and doesn't care what happens to you. That's anyone who's promising you anything is a bad creature, right? That is my advice as to how to hire an employment attorney and how to use Avvo.com to do it. I hope this is helpful. If it was, like and subscribe. Post your questions down below. I will try to answer them. And if you're looking for an employment attorney, it's never a good time. It's always a bad situation if you need an employment attorney. I'm just sorry that you need an employment attorney, but I hope that you find the help that you really need. Really, truly, sincerely. I hope you do.